Now, it's our final segment. No, not our final segment. We actually have one more after now, but this is for motivation. And joining us today for motivation is Olabisi Akande, the Inspirer. That's what he's called. He inspires individuals to be more so they can live and lead better. He's a certified speaker, trainer, and also coach with the Maxwell Leadership Certificate certified team. You are welcome, Olabisi. Good to have you here again. We've been talking about leadership as a series the past couple of weeks, and today we want to talk about leadership itself. Leadership is something that you can't do or execute without influence. So I'd like us to go into that now. Building that influence, creating it, keeping it, sustaining it. What are the processes? What do we need to know about leadership itself now?
Now, that's spot on. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Like John Maxwell would say, who is, of course, the topmost when it comes to leadership, because he has written so many books about that. He's an authority because he's an author.
Exactly.
But leadership is how you influence people. You see, the thing is, sometimes we want to move people to do things by force. We want to manipulate people to do stuff. But the truth is, the best way is to lead them by influencing them. And if you influence people, then people don't follow you because they have to. They follow you because they want to. In other words, they give you permission to lead them. And that's very important. Sometimes people want to force their leadership on people, but you don't need to do that. You get people to the point when they can follow you because they want to follow you. So let me just talk a little bit about how do you then develop this influence. I think the first critical thing, most people will not like that. The first critical thing, of course, we all love it, but somehow we don't do it, is trust.
Trust.
It's trust, because it's if I meet you, there are three questions I want to ask. I want to ask you, do you care for me? I want to find out if you will help me. Then I want to find out if I can trust you. Now, you may care for me, you may be able to help me, but can you trust me? If I tell you if you tell me you want to do this for me, can I really be sure that you will do it? Or is it just that you just raise my hopes and then you leave me there? So I want to be sure that I can trust you. And that comes when you and I are able to consistently show up in our values. What are the values that drives your life? Because you see, if you do this today, you do this tomorrow, then I'm not too sure what's going to be. I mean, I tell people often that if you make a public commitment and you don't keep it, how am I sure that you keep a private commitment between the two of us? So I need to be sure that you have your values and they are consistent. I need to be sure that you are consistent in the way you behave. That is not that I see a difference today, I see a difference tomorrow.
Very interesting there. Now, what you're talking about is relationship between leader and individual. When you lead, however, you are often the leader of a group of people. So does that mean that I must first establish relationship with every single individual in my group before I can gain each and every trust of their trust and then be a good leader?
Fantastic question, but truth is, how you lead one is how you lead all. So if you lead one well, it spreads. People see it. I don't need to meet you for me to agree that you can be my leader. But the thing is that by the time you do it with some other people, the word begins to spread. I mean, we call Mandela the leader of Africa, so to speak. We didn't meet him.
We didn't meet him.
But we saw that consistency in his behavior,
Yeah.
and we began to believe, and we could trust him that, okay, this man will do what he said he will do.
So how do I rise from a group and be trusted as a leader? Because it's first of all, it's always very parallel. And then you perhaps are singled out to lead the group. How do I manage that process?
When you are singled out I think I said something here, and that is the fact that how you lead one is how you lead all. When you're in a group, it begins to show. Sometimes the leader is not the one who is ahead. Sometimes somebody who has influence, because, I mean, there's a law that says that when A.F. Oton speaks, everybody listens. That means he's the leader. So you can be in a group and the person at the bottom is the one who speaks and everybody listens. That makes him a leader because he's the one who charts the course for everyone. So anybody can steer the ship, but a leader is the one that charts the course. So he's able to chart the course. By the time you're in a group and then you begin to show those leadership characteristics, naturally people begin to look up to you as a leader. They come to you for information. They come to you for... So you come out. By the time you come out, of course, what you are doing in private, you can easily bring it out in public and it goes.
Is there any advantage to the one person who is actually most influential in a group but chooses not to be at the forefront as a leader but still has and manages that influence very well to the advantage of the group? Is that a good thing or is it to their disadvantage?
I would say it's a very good thing. I love, I talk about the 360-degree leader. And one of the things I love about that is I love it when you lead without really being seen. It's fantastic, because the truth is that people would be attracted to you. They follow your lead. You're influencing them to do things that they didn't know they could do before. In other words, you're empowering them. You're helping them to become more. That's just it. You don't have to be in the front. There's a lot of advantage actually if you're not in the front. Doing it from the back, it's very, very.
There's no bullseye on you. I'll put it that way. Now let's talk about sustaining that leadership, because we've all seen it happen where leadership begins to wane or atrophy or erode. How can you preserve against that?
The way to preserve against that, I think, would be to do this one thing: add value to people.
Add value to
Add
people,
value to
not to yourself.
Not to yourself. Well, it's actually the value you add to people is determined by the value you add to yourself. Because really, if you don't become something, you can't make me that thing. So you keep consistently adding value to people. See, the more you add value to people, the more you make people better, not bitter, the more people will keep staying with you. So consistent leaders are those who are able to consistently add value to people. And it begins with, like I said, them adding value to themselves. How do I add value to myself? I must be in an environment of growth all the time. See, some people want to be in a room where they are always the best of the room, but that's the wrong class. You need to be in a room where you are being challenged. You need to be in a room where growth is encouraged, where you are being pulled forward.
Yeah.
So you keep growing. So I sit here, I learn here, and I go and I dispense somewhere else, but I look for somewhere else where I could also learn from. And I think leaders who sustain leadership are also leaders who are able to listen. Now, that's tough, because a lot of people think that if I'm the leader, then I should be talking. But actually, leaders should eat last. So leaders should listen or speak last. They should listen more and speak last, because then you're able to understand what's in the people and you can bring it out. That way you sustain your leadership.
Mr. Olubinga, that's fantastic. I've learned from today's session here, and we're rounding everything up today. Fantastic. I've really enjoyed the entire month of August and you being here every single Monday. And we can't wait to have you back again maybe a couple of months from now. Thank you very much for your insights into all of these very interesting wisdom that you've given us.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that you've learned plenty yourself out there. Thank you very much for being a part of the series all month long. Finally, the end of August, we'll bring you something else next month. But not to worry, it's only still the start of the week here. We've still got more, especially inside the kitchen, and one final guest for SME. We'll be back.